Oh boy, we got patch notes, everyone. I don't know if this came out. I don't know what time this is, but it came out today this morning. This is a sixth update. A lot of gameplay and balance changes, which I'm going to go through. I just did a video about balancing, so I want to go through the patch notes with you guys, talk about what they did, and talk about what I think about it. I will link patch notes down below. If you just don't want to watch this video, you want to go read them for yourselves, feel free to. You won't hurt my feelings too much. But anyways, let's just get into it. I'm not going to go through all of it. Some of the stuff is just some audio and visual stuff that doesn't really matter. But let's get into the juicy parts. First off, some stuff about vote kicking. Spectators can no longer initiate or participate in vote kicks. This is fine. Starting vote kicks and casting votes against enemies is no longer possible in team modes. Mordhau probably isn't going to get that many hackers and stuff. It's on an FPS game. So there's no real reason why you'd want the enemy team to vote kick people on your team. Should be something that your team should handle. So this is fine. Avoiding vote kicks by leaving a server is no longer possible. I don't know what penalty there is for getting vote kicked because I've never been successfully vote kicked. But if there is one and it's no longer possible to skip out, it's great. Vote kicks now need more vote majority to succeed. Not sure what the exact numbers are. If this is too much and it leads to people not getting kicked just because people aren't really paying attention, then it's a bad thing. But we'll just have to see. Fix unlocking getting stuck. Fixed high level unlocks staying locked despite reaching the level, and then added a few new skins. All fine. Let's get into the real juicy bits. The combat changes, the balancing. Kicks now have more range against active held blocks and recovery. This will significantly increase range of kicks against shields and fist block only. Excuse me. Doesn't affect parries or time block. So only the heater and kite shield. And when you can hold the block with the fists. So really good change. In my video I said I don't think these shields are overpowered. I think there's a counterplay, but they could use some tweaking. Just because someone's, like, I don't think they're overpowered. You can still definitely win, but what they've gone and done, and we'll read the rest of the notes in a sec. What they've gone and done is they added consistent counterplay to these shields. They took a system and they made it more consistent. So I absolutely like this. It makes it more viable to kick, and it makes the person holding up the shield have to think a little more. It doesn't really change. It doesn't really change how viable shields are too much. It just means that the counterplay option was there is now more consistent. So it does change it a little. It doesn't. I don't think it significantly nerfs them, but I'm just glad that there's more consistent counterplay. I think it's a very good change, and I think it's going to be very welcome. Now, if there's like a bunch of phantom range on the kick, but we have to see exactly how far the range is of the kick. If there's a bunch of phantom range, then maybe that would be a problem. But for now, it seems like a good change. And increased kick tracer width slightly. I've never had problems with the kicking not connecting me due to the width, like when I'm really close to someone. But maybe people have, and if it just makes it more consistent, then that's great. Nerfed chase mechanic slightly. If you don't know, there's a chase mechanic in the game. If you ever noticed you try to run away from someone and they always catch you, or it seems like they always catch you, even if you have less armor, meaning you move faster, is because when you turn your back to someone and they're aggressively trying to chase you, they actually get a speed boost. This is going to be nerfed, which basically means it's a little easier for it's a little easier for unarmored builds to get away from heavily armored builds. This is great. I think heavy armor is way better than light armor. So having a little more of a decision making and having a little more reason to go either or is great. Hopefully this leads to a bit more build diversity, so on and so on. And then increased stab early release by 25 milliseconds. This means thrusts or stabs are extremely slower. 25 milliseconds is literally next to nothing. But it's very slight nerf. I don't even think you'd have to really relearn the timings. That's how small this is. But you just have a tiny window more to counterplay or do whatever you want. I don't even know if this is this is for all stab weapons. But this might again. I didn't have a problem with any stab weapons. The only stab weapon that I had a problem with was the dagger, and because sometimes a guy would get on me with a dagger and they get like 3 hits in just because I'm not expecting it to be that fast. But even then, like it's just a dagger. it's not that big of a deal. So, but again, I don't think thrust weapons are overpowered, and I don't think this is a significant nerf in any way. So I think they're going to basically be the same. But yeah, I'm sure not many people are going to complain about that. I'm not going to complain about it. This is not going to change any weapon that I use. Neither will the things on up top, but it will, but I'll start using kicks more often now. So great changes. Weapons and equipment. Heater and kite shield. These are the two shields where you hold your block. Adjusted. It's now slightly easier to hit around these shields. That's fine. This might even be a buff to thrust weapons, because swing weapons already couldn't hit around the shields somewhat easily, especially if you're playing really aggressive. That's hitting the hitbox, more counterplay, totally fine. That just means that when you're using a heater or a kite shield, you actually have to look around. So just kind of increases the skill cap for both the person using the shield and the person fighting against the shield. Shield's still just going to be just as useful, but there's going to be more play and counterplay there. So super happy about that. Just about as useful. Fixed parry backpedal speed being lower on Targe Buckler than regular parry. I wasn't aware of this because no one uses the Targe or the Buckler. Some people use the Targe, but they're very rare. But any buff to these two weapons or shields, whatever, is great. And any reason to take them over their hold shield counterparts is good to have. So very happy with this change. Fixed Evening Star having 5 stamina on hit instead of 10 on stabs. This is fine. Evening Star's a great weapon. If it wasn't really supposed to be like that intentionally, then it's fine that they're fixing it. A little bit more stamina gain when using the Evening Star. Evening Star is a great weapon. Definitely should try it out. Mallet and Blacksmith Hammer now have more range. I assume this is for the melee hit, not throwing it. But if you ever notice, sometimes when you're trying to rebuild a barricade or something, you just kind of can't reach, and sometimes this is also with like axes and stuff too. They have to work in the hitboxes a little. But you're kind of trying to like shove your mallet into whatever you're fixing, and this will just make it hopefully easier, so I'm happy with this change. Mallet repair ability buffed. I think the Blacksmith Hammer does more damage, so if one is a better weapon, one's a better tool, that's fine. Gives you a reason to take either or. More build diversity, always a good thing, just pretty much. Scrolling down. Deployable Ballista. This is the Ballista turret you've probably seen some engineers use. Can now turn more, has faster ammo replenish, I believe it's 5 total, and has slightly more health. Great change. I think engineers don't really have a place right now. A very good place. They probably will when sieges come out. But right now, if you're defending an objective, you're probably not in a good spot, right? Unless you have the middle objective, and even if you have the middle objective, then you just want to keep attacking and pushing that advantage. But if you don't have the middle advantage, the middle point, you probably shouldn't be defending or putting that many resources into defending, because once you don't have that middle point, you could literally successfully defend the entire game and you'll still lose. So there's no real point to being super defensive when when you're losing, just because you're gonna lose anyways. So any buff to engineers, which are a very defensive class or playstyle, is great right now. I think they definitely can use it. And the Ballista is very powerful potentially, but has all these different things that are really holding it back. But can now turn more, and it's faster ammo replenish. Health doesn't really matter unless it significantly increases it to the point where you can survive a firebomb or something. But this is a great change. You can see more engineers. Engineers are fun to play, and they change up the gameplay. So happy to see more of them. Happy to see them making more of an impact. Deployable spikes can now have slightly more width, covering more area. Again, another good buff. We'll have to see. Hopefully, I don't want them to have a bunch of phantom range on what the actual model looks like, because that'll just be annoying. But sometimes you can kind of sneak around spikes when you really doesn't look like you should be able to. So if this stops that, then that's a great change. Toolbox now spawns with 5 out of 6 ammo, and now resupplies 6 instead of 3. It takes 6 to make the turret, but what this means is you can put down 5 spikes or shields if you want in an objective, and then go back with 1 replenishment and put down the ammo box. This means you can get set up in only 2 trips instead of the 3 or 4 that it would normally take. It also means that no one's going to steal your turret, and then you have to fight people for your own turret. So great change, absolutely great change. Smokes can now disable chase mechanic. 2 things about this. First, good change. Smoke bombs aren't super useful. They don't get used all that often. So this gives them even more of a purpose. Definitely a great change. Secondly, for something like the change above, now I don't know how the game's coded, but I'm assuming it's not super hard to go in and say, oh, the toolbox spawns with 5 ammo instead of 3, right? You're just changing a number. Probably a little more to it than that, but essentially. This is literally adding an entirely new mechanic. Now, again, this might not be the hardest new mechanic to implement, but it shows that the devs are literally going to go and rework items literally the 6th patch in. With a bunch of really small patches to begin with, just to make stuff viable and stuff. So super happy that they took the time to do this, even though it's not going to be, even though smokes aren't going to be the new meta or whatever. But they went in, to put a bunch of effort to get a new item, to give it a new purpose. Great change. Round of applause for the devs. Good job. Woo! Awesome. All right, going on maps and game modes. Frontline capturing and neutralizing is now faster. Frontline is super unbalanced. Mountain Peak is maybe sort of balanced because reds usually win, but blues can win also. Maybe I'm also my information might be a little skewed because it's just a personal experience, and I usually play red on every map, and I'm usually at the top of the scoreboard, which means my team is more likely to win. But for the most part, even when I switch, reds usually win. But blues can still win a good amount of time for Mountain Peak, but the rest of them are all very one-sided. Camp reds almost always win. Taiga reds almost always win, and then the whatever the castle one is, blues almost always win. But this will make it easier to actually capture points. So that means whatever team gets to the midpoint first will have a harder time holding it for literally the entire game. So this will hopefully create a lot of back and forth. Great change. Frontline still needs a lot of work. Great first step. These are just some default fixes. Read them if you want. Nothing too serious. Some more fixes. Updates to the server browser. Server browser is not the best. Already putting work into it. Absolutely great. I'm sure everyone appreciates it. Short spears. More fixes. Lowered volume on ballista hit sound. Super satisfying getting that big crunch and then ping. So we'll see. But whatever. And then some more fixes to horde modes and stuff. I don't know if this gives turds and regular front lines AoE damage, because you can actually find turds from the horses, but we'll see. And then scoreboard now automatically scrolls to always show the player entry. This is great. If you jump onto a server, you don't need to get a few kills before you can check your ping or something. Just do that. But yeah, absolutely great changes. I think everyone's going to be happy with it. Definitely really good job. So yeah, I'm excited. I've just downloaded the patch. I'm gonna play it. Gonna try out the kick mechanics. Might take a shield and rapier into some dueling servers. See how that goes. But yeah. All right, that's it in the video. Let me know if you guys disagree with anything I say or anything that the devs are doing. Obviously, I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff that still needs to be done. A bunch of small things here and there, and a bunch of big things here and there. But let me know if you disagree with any of these changes or anything I said about them. But yeah, other than that, I really want to get this channel monetized. So if you don't have to. I'm not trying to force you, but if you want to, you don't have to hit the bell button. I don't care. But if you want to subscribe, just so I can one day reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, get my channel monetized, I'd appreciate that. You don't have to though. You can do whatever you want. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you guys later. Hope to see you guys in Mordhau. All right, bye.